Hello guys and welcome to another video from Oscar Cooper, and before you get your jimmies rustled, I want to make one thing very clear. Horizon Zero Dawn is one of my favourite games of this year, and I will be putting it to my Got Ye Game of the Year list, which is coming out this weekend. I love Horizon Zero Dawn, do not get me wrong. What this video is about is the upcoming Monster Hunter that's coming out on the 26th of January. Bear in mind we do have another chance at the beta on the 22nd of December, which is in a couple of days, but I want to highlight for anyone who's not into Monster Hunter, or anyone who is, the huge areas that Horizon and Monster Hunter compete on. They're both very similar games, action RPGs, technically open world, a little bit less with Monster Hunter, but let's go into what these games are all about and where they excel. I'm breaking this down into 5 sort of areas or reasons why Monster Hunter could potentially beat Horizon Zero Dawn, and one of the first ones is a pretty tough one, and it's visuals. Now Horizon is one of the best looking games on the PlayStation, but I cannot ignore how much detail Capcom have put into these maps for the Monster Hunter beta, and of course this is only going to get better for Monster Hunter World. We have more maps that we haven't seen, including that Coral Highlands, which looks unbelievable. I am so impressed with the environmentals on this game, right down to the elements, to the water, to small things like the mist on the draw distance, and just the amount of stuff going on, the amount of insects and birds and wildlife that's sort of knocking around. It's really detailed and in depth. I did want to show the differences in day and night on Horizon as well. That's lunar light on that first clip. This is it in the sunlight. I mean, I don't want to take anything away from this game's visuals. They are amazing, but I'm not seeing the variety that I know we're going to be seeing in the Monster Hunter game. The colours, the fact that it's a really crazy, almost alien world that still looks familiar. I love the way they've done that. They've sort of grounded it, but still made it outlandishly colourful and beautiful. I really love the way this game looks, especially on an environmental level. Running through this forest for the first time when we looked at it, and just sliding around and using the environment, the ropes, and sort of jumping up and down and climbing, etc. It really brought home how amazing Monster Hunter World's going to be, and this forest was just so lush and there's so much going on. I'll say it again, I don't want to take anything away from Horizon Zero Dawn, but something really clicked with me when I saw these maps and saw these environments. I just love how busy they are. Horizon has an amazing vistas, but there it's a little bit barren. The areas are a little bit sparse. So next up, let's talk about combat, and this one's again really difficult, because Horizon's combat is standout. It's some of the best in the genre. For the system, I mean, it was my hook personally, that, and along with the monsters, which we're coming up to in a second. The way that it handles range is good. Okay, you only really have a bow and arrow. You kind of get a shotgun and some other sort of quite innovative weapon types, but it's good. The range on Monster Hunter is a lot quicker and reaction based affair. Now both games use this roll and avoid setup, and when you're a gunner, the roll and avoid thing's kind of your saving grace. It's the only thing that's really going to get you out of trouble, because you don't have a shield. But there was something a bit more white knuckle about the range combat in Monster Hunter for me, and of course the changeable ammo types and the 3 different guns, and there's going to be a mountain of different gun types in the main game, and this just for me seems a little bit stronger. Now that brings us on to the melee combat. Now you probably are all going to be like, well, Monster Hunter's been around for 10 years. Horizon came out 2 years ago, a year ago. I mean, how are they going to have their melee sort of organised? But I think everyone will agree on this, even fans of the game will agree on this, that the melee combat is a bit clunky, it's a bit sticky, and you don't really get an opportunity to upgrade much with your weapon. You just get this staff and that's it, and I always find myself sort of flipping to the range combat or the other cool weapons within your roster. Now the weapons on Monster Hunter and the upgrade abilities and just the different 14 types are what I play the game for, along with the monsters obviously. These are just amazing. They feel so comfortable. There is so many. It's just like Overwatch and its characters. You're never going to get your head completely around them all. I mean, it's definitely worth trying, but there'll be some that you'll be masters of, and just the feeling of of the impact and what they've done with the graphics and the dust and the smoke and the bits that come off the monster, and it just feels so much more badass, you know what I mean? It really just hits home that little bit better. Now that brings me on to reason 3, I think we're up to, is the monsters themselves. And Horizon broke ground with its innovation and dinosaur design with this whole cool sort of AI-controlled robotic biomechanics stuff. But Monster Hunter reigns supreme. I mean, the clue's in the name. I mean, it's not a game about anything other than fighting massive, badass monsters. Yeah, there are some quests in there. And yes, there is a lot of substance for the single-player campaign. There's huge amounts. And Horizon Zero Dawn does offer up quite a lot of variety with its different monster types. This is a boss battle you can see here, and it's completely separate to what's going on in the open world environment. This thing's like a colossal machine, and I mean, it's frightening, daunting, and as you can see, it's extremely reliant on its range combat. I mean, this was almost a third-person shooter style scenario for me with this game. I mean, it was great. It reminded me of Vanquish, actually. I don't know if you're aware of that Platinum game, absolute bloody classic on 360. But I think that Monster Hunter wins this area because not only does it handle range better, but it also handles melee combat better, and it also has a far deeper weapon roster to dip into, and of course the upgrades, etc. Just on the back of what we've seen in the beta, these monsters are incredible. They look incredible. They behave incredibly. This one chased me down this slope here and then just kicked in the fight. I mean, it came after me. It was not going to take no for an answer, and it very nearly killed me. They've almost got personalities, and the 3 monsters, or there's 4 I think in the beta, isn't there, with some of the Diablos and I didn't see Pookie annoyingly, but they just are such a joy to fight. And I mean, if you're into Monster Hunter on the other systems, you know that fighting some of the G rank and top level monsters is almost like a dance of death that you do with these things. It's like you're on a knife edge, you're sort of tiptoeing around you, but you're in control, but at the same time one lapse of concentration will have you dead. And the game that reminds me of that is Dark Souls, of course. I also love how the monsters are fighting each other. I mean, that has not been in the previous games, and wow, it's just mind-blowing how cool it looks with these like kaiju style battles going on. We don't see enough of that in Horizon, and that's a bit annoying. Conflict between the animals themselves. Reason 4, of course, is upgrading your armor and sort of infantry management, etc. Horizon, bless it, never tried to excel in this area. It's not a loot-driven game. I mean, it does have a loot system, but it's nothing on what we have with Monster Hunter. And if you know the series, again, this is the hook for me, is opening up new armors, trying out different combinations, dressing up your palico. I mean, it's just endless joy and fun. A huge excel area for the Monster Hunter series. Finally, and a bit unfairly, I feel, we have multiplayer, co-op multiplayer in Monster Hunter World. I mean, Horizon, I don't think it wanted to go in that direction. It has one of the best story-driven single-player campaigns out there on the system, and I think it deserves that crown. But you can play the entirety of Monster Hunter in single-player, and I will, and I do, on the other systems. There's something I love about not having to take responsibility and just going for it on your own. It's awesome, you know, you're the only one responsible for your mistakes, etc. So, yeah, this game is going to technically blow Horizon out of the water on so many levels. But let me say this, I love Horizon Zero Dawn, and if you do, you're going to love Monster Hunter to death. Guys, the 26th of January, get your holidays booked. I will see you down there.